Hello and welcome to a Subnautica playthrough. Alright, so first things first, I have played Subnautica before. I've played on the latest patch, so I know quite a bit of what I'm doing. If you have not played Subnautica yet, and are planning to, and would like to avoid spoilers as to gameplay, don't watch this. Like, go away, leave, right now, turn the video off. If you're still here, and you would like to watch someone play Subnautica, maybe learn a couple of things like where to find blueprints, how to get started in the early game, and stuff like that, then this is the right place to do it. So I'm going to be playing on survival, so food and water, because I feel like that's an integral part of the game, and if that wasn't there, then, you know, it's not really the same game. I'm not going to be doing hardcore because I completely forget about my oxygen all the time, and so those O2 alerts are rather important for me. Alright, so I'm going to start this up. One thing I should note is that Subnautica is not very optimized currently, so there's likely to be some hang-ups in the game. My computer is right on the cusp of being able to run it, and especially later on as you get more items and such like that, the game tends to hang quite a bit. You can actually see the loading wheel hiccuping a bit there right now. Alright, so I'm going to hush up for a bit as the story starts.
Launch in 3, 2, 1.
Alright, so the basic storyline of Subnautica, just in case that wasn't obvious, is that you were on a spaceship that has crash landed onto this planet, which, as it turns out,
Greetings, survivor. Great job not dying. To assist you in further survival in emergency situations, you have been issued this personal data assistant. The interface visible now will organize your inventory, display currently available construction blueprints, and holds other valuable information. Please take a moment to familiarize yourself with it.
okay, so as I was saying, which, this planet that you've crash landed on, as it turns out, is basically a water planet. I'm gonna try to not talk while she's talking, that way anyone who's interested in the storyline can get it. I'm not gonna be doing this for storyline, because, like I said, I've already played this, so I already know quite a bit about it. Mostly I'm gonna be doing this to sort of try to, not really speed run it, but get the most efficient start. Oh, this is an interesting start location. I am in pretty deep water, actually. So first things first.
New creature discovered.
No. Okay. Alright, so that right there is a crash fish. And you actually need crash fish powder.
Oxygen.
Oop, see, I need the oxygen warnings. I might actually drown right here and now. I'm so far down. Everything's going dark. Must. Alright, yeah, see, so the whole hardcore thing just wouldn't work for me, because not having an oxygen warning would be bad, okay? Alright, so Obviously, given that, my priority here is to get more oxygen. Now, the way you get more oxygen... I'm gonna cook up that peeper and eat it. Oh, I suppose I should be doing this. For anyone new out there, this is how you build. Inside the life pod there is a fabricator, and the fabricator lets you build various things, or in this case, cook various things. Now, I just caught a peeper, and I can eat it. Now, peepers are the most efficient source of food, but you can cook just about any of the small fish. Now, my priorities here are to get a scanner, which requires a battery and titanium, a repair tool, a survival knife, and then I also want to get fins and an O2 tank. And really, I'd like to get 2 O2 tanks. Now, the O2 tank takes titanium and glass. Glass requires quartz, and I can get titanium from metal salvage. And hopefully I'm not going too fast for you guys to follow that. And there is a little bit of a tutorial here that's telling me to break that limestone, which got me a copper, actually, which is good because I can turn that into a battery. So I got my metal salvage, so that's my titanium that I need. Now these things right here, the bladderfish, can be used to make water, which obviously is fairly important. And this right here generates air, so if you don't want to swim up to the surface, you can sit over this and get some more air. Now these crystalline things are quartz, and to make glass I need 2 of them. Now I want to make 2 oxygen tanks if possible, so I want to try to get 4 quartz. There's also salt, which I'm going to need later, so I'll grab that while I'm here. And I kind of want to get up to the surface. There we go. Once I've got a couple oxygen tanks, that won't be as big of a deal. I'll be able to stay under longer, but as of right now, got a pretty short duration that I can breathe. Titanium, that's not what I need. Quartz, how much quartz do I have? 1, 2, 3, that'll be my 4th. So I'll grab that, and that'll do it. The other thing that I want to get is fins. Now, normally I would have to look up the recipe for that, obviously, but wow, that was a little bit of a hitch there. Give me the fish. Yes. And I'll grab you too, because why not? So normally I'd have to look up the recipe for fins, because fins will make you swim faster, which is pretty important. But because I've played this game before, I already know what the recipe is, and I know the recipe is 2 silicon rubber, and to create a silicon rubber you need 2 of these, so I need 4 of them total. Oh, and actually I need silicon rubber for... do I have enough room? I do. For my knife as well, so while I'm here, give me... why can I not... there we go. So while I'm here, I'll just grab what I need. So I need 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, yep, 6. And that'll get me, so just in that short trip, I got enough to create 2 oxygen tanks. Now the second oxygen tank isn't necessary, but it gives me a little bit more time underwater, which again, for me is very important. And also enough to get the fins, and a knife, all of which are very, very important for the early game. So I'm going to make my 3 silicon rubber. I'm going to turn my titanium into titanium, or my metal salvage into titanium, rather. Make my 2 glass. And then I'm going to make... let's see, I want the knife. Oops, wrong thing. The fins.
Detecting increased local radiation levels. Trend is consistent with ongoing degradation at the Aurora's dark matter drive core due to damage sustained during collision. Continuing to monitor.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys are reading the little messages down at the bottom, but some of them Some of them are pretty amusing, like this one here. Weapons were removed from standard survival blueprints following the massacre on Obraxis Prime. As an essential survival tool for 2.5 million years, the knife remains the only exception. Sorry about that. Which is really amusing, because on this particular world, it would be really nice if you actually had, you know, all the survival tools that you would want. Alright, so I got my fins, I got my O2 tank, I got a second O2 tank, so now I'm up from 45 seconds of oxygen to 105 seconds of oxygen. Which is great. That's quite a bit of time, actually, that you can spend underwater now. So I'm going to put my knife on 1, and I'm going to put away all of this stuff that I'm not actively using now. I do need to cook some of these, so I'm going to cook the Gary fish. And I'm going to cook the peeper. And then I'm going to turn the bladder fish into filtered water. And then I'm going to eat all of those at once. Now, something that isn't pointed out, but is good to know, especially early on, is that cooked food will rot over time. So it's best to eat cooked food immediately, and if you want to take some food for the road, so to speak, save it in your inventory for an emergency, you want to cure it, which requires the fish and salt. And salt is pretty easy to find early game, and then later in the game you can get it from other places. Now the other thing is the medical kit fabricator will generate med kits automatically over time. You always want to grab it as soon as you can, especially early game, because you'll be using these a lot. Like when you get attacked by stalkers and other enemies, like that crash fish might have hurt me, and I would have had to use a med kit to get rid of the damage. Come here, peeper. The other thing is peepers and other fish won't die while they're in your inventory, so you can hang on to the fish infinitely and then just cook it when you need to. But of course, to cook it, you have to be at your base. What's my next? Alright, I actually have to figure out what my next priority is. I've got my fins, I've got my O2 tanks. I think my next priority is... Okay, so I want to get a welder, because I want to fix this, because that'll fix my communications relay. And I want to be able to start getting messages. Also, the welder is fairly important later on. I also want to get a scanner, and the scanner might actually be more important. So the scanner requires a battery. The battery requires 2 acid mushrooms and a copper ore. Now, I already found the copper. And the acid mushrooms are pretty easy. Oh, and it also requires a titanium. So I'm actually going to get the scanner done right now. Or very quickly. I need to go and get the acid mushrooms still. And then the repair tool, I need a titanium, a magnesium, and a crash fish powder. Now, the magnesium, I told you we would need salt. You make magnesium with 3 salt. So there's my magnesium. And I've already got a titanium for it. So now I just need to get 2 acid mushrooms for a battery. And these right here are the acid mushrooms. The purple looking... I guess they look sort of like mushrooms. So that's my battery, and that'll get my scanner. And then the other thing that I need... I'm going to grab that bladder fish since it's apparently stuck. The other thing I need is a crash fish powder, which is a little bit harder to find. This thing right here is the crash fish. Oh, I'm not doing that at night, though. No way. Those things hurt. That thing right there was a crash fish, so I did get a little bit unlucky, and I didn't get the crash fish powder off of that one. So I'll have to find another one and bait it into attacking me. So I need to make the battery. There we go. And then I'm going to make a scanner. Now, other priorities besides a welding tool, I want to get an early habitat builder if I can, because storage becomes an issue fairly quickly. And I also want to get a laser cutter. The laser cutter is a bit harder though because it requires a diamond, and diamonds don't spawn anywhere near where you start. I do know where they spawn though, so I'm just going to head straight there in order to get one quickly, I think.